Hello everyone and welcome to the fifth module in this Photoshop flyer design course. Now this module is specifically us actually doing the designing parts of flyer design. We've gone through the basics, we've gone through the interface, we've gone through the principles and elements of design. Now it's time for us to actually put everything we've used into use. So we'll be replicating this flyer here, and I would very much like you to follow along. Open Photoshop on your system, try to do the things I'm doing, because without following along you might actually assume that, oh, I get what it's doing. If I'm with a laptop on my own, I'll be able to do it. But when you follow along, you hit good blocks, you see things that confuse you, you can pause the video, go online, use there are several AI tools. You can use Gemini, you can use ChatGPT. Try to describe the problem as much as you can, resolve it, then resume the video. Just try your best to follow along, and I'll also try my best to make it as explanatory as I can. And every resource I would be using in this video are in the description below. So before we start, just check the description, go to the link and download the resource folder so you can follow along. So without further ado, let's get started. This is my new documents window in Photoshop. Remember, if you didn't skip any of the earlier videos, I explained how you get here. It's simply running your Photoshop app or your Photoshop software. Then when it opens up, you see your recent designs, which is this previous page here, and you click on Ctrl N, or you click on this button here, this new file button, then you get this window that pops up. So let's set the dimensions of the design we'll be working on. 4x5. I can put 70, so I can put 300. We've discussed this before, and I said I just prefer using 300. So 4x5 inches, 300. Make sure artboard is selected. And what else? That's also, let's just click on create. Yeah. Alright, so this is the flyer we are trying to replicate, and there's an obvious issue. The size of the artboard we've created is different from the size we actually want to design at. And the solution to this is to actually close it. You've not done much. Go back and pick the correct settings, or you can just select the artboard name here, click on it, change this from 1500 to 1200, so you have a square, 1200 width, 1200 height, or you click on OK, we have the same size. Or let me just go through the process again. Ctrl N to create a new file or document. Then change this to 5 by 5 inches, because we are designing a square flyer. Make sure the board is selected. Yes, that's the only thing you have to change. Then click on create. So now I have the flyer we are trying to replicate here. Let me increase the size so it matches. It's going to match very well. So where do we start from? We have this Ramadan Mubarak text. Here. So let's come to our text, to the one on this part of your screen. And in case you cannot find any of the tools I'll be using here, say I'm using rectangle, I'm using the quick selection tool, you can just come here, click on this, click and hold, then come to edit toolbar, look for whatever tool was missing. Let's see, this was missing. Actually, I have everything dragged in already, so I'm not going to say anything missing. But if there wasn't something there, then it's going to be on this part of extra tools. So make sure you drag it into your toolbar. This is my lasso tool. It belongs here amongst selection tools. Elliptical mark tool belongs here, and then you can click on done. You have your tools here. So back to our design. I've selected my text tool or the shortcut C for text. So we click on our artboard and we have our default text, lorem ipsum. Lorem ipsum does not have any meaning. I hope I've said that before, and if I haven't, you know that now. It does not have any meaning, it's just a placeholder text. So let's change this to right, and we can see actually that this text in the flyer we are trying to replicate is center aligned, and what we have here by default is left aligned. So you come to the properties panel here, open your properties panel. If you can't see your properties panel or properties window, come to window, then click on properties. It's going to appear. So let's go down to paragraph, and you can see the text is left aligned here, so we change it to center alignment. So our text is aligned to the center now. And what next are we going to work on? The font is obviously different, so we have to change this font to a font in the flyer you are trying to replicate. And if you check your resources folder, you would see these zip files. These zip files actually contain similar fonts, and I intentionally left it here to explain how you unzip a file, because when you download assets from the internet, a lot of time you actually download zip files. So if you don't have an application called WinRAR, where is it? Yes, you can use this to extract. And if you are using Windows 11, I think WinRAR is actually free. You can download it on the internet. And if you are using Windows 11, I think you don't need the app. You can actually extract without it. So you right click, extract all for Windows 11, then click on extract. I don't know if the same works in Windows 10. So you have your files extracted. Let's go back. Let me click another one, Kamali, and use the second method. Right click, come to WinRAR, extract to Kamali. That's the best thing to click on. Yeah, and it's extracted already. So we can click into the folder. These are just pictures, we don't need them. We can delete them. With this first, I don't need that. So I'll click on the TTF file. It can be OTF when you download online. OTF and TTF both are font files, and they work on most or every design software actually. So right click on it, then come to install. Wait for it to load. Yeah, it's installed already. Let's go to Basmala, these fonts. I don't need all this, so I'm just going to delete it, so you know my space doesn't just get filled up a chunk over time. So I'm going to right click on this also, and I would install. Alright, so we'll decide which of the two we are going to use, because I actually can't even remember the specific fonts I used for this, but then I was able to find similar fonts online. So let me delete this and explain how I did that. You hold Alt on your keyboard, over on the elements or the layer you want to copy, then drag. That's how to duplicate in Photoshop. If it was a rectangle, let me give this a color so you can see it. Look at this. My arrow is on it. You can see how the arrow is. But once I hold on Alt, the arrow changes. It tells me, oh, I'm ready to copy. So I'll click on the elements and drag. But this copied the rollout board. That's not what I want. Ctrl Z, and let's try again. Yeah, I have the rectangle copied. Alright, so let's go back. What are the fonts we downloaded? Kamali. So we'll come here, come to properties panel. Most times the things you want to change are usually in the properties panel. It's context sensitive. I've explained this before in earlier videos. It's context sensitive, that is, it changes depending on the layer you have selected, if it's a text layer or an image layer or an adjustment layer. So let's change this font to, what's the font again? Kamali and Basmala. Let's change it to Kamali. And you are going to see it here because you've installed it already. Had it been we did not install it before doing this, we won't see this font here. So I click on that. Now I've changed this. Let's change this also to Basmala regular. Alright. Now this seems very close to, it seems somehow close to the original flyer, but I kind of like this. I kind of like Kamali, so I'm going to delete it and we'll stick to this. So this is the font we'll be using, Ramadan Mubarak. And instead of coming to the text to click on it in case you want to change text or you want to change some things here, you can just use the shortcut Ctrl Enter, but you have to make sure the text layer is selected in your layers panel. So let me go back and do that. Let's on my move tool or any tool, I have my text layer selected, Ctrl Enter. Good. So now I can edit and Ctrl Alt, your direction arrows, just click up. Now everything is kind of together, so I'm going to bring it down gradually until I have some until I have the desired space. The reason why I'm reducing it is I kind of don't like the amount of space in between. Okay, it's too much for me. So Ctrl Alt, direction arrow on your keyboard, I mean the up arrow, then you click up, everything is together, click down to separate it and Ctrl Enter again to exit the text edit mode. And another way you can do what I just did now, if it confused you, is again come to properties panel. This text field where here is for the vertical distance between two lines of a text. So you can come here, let's say I picked 12, it has reduced too much, 24, and if that finishes specifically, just hover on the A icon beside the text field and drag it to the right. You can see the arrow changes to a ant icon with two arrows. You can drag to the left to reduce space, drag to the right to increase the spacing. Let me reduce it a little bit. Yeah, and when I'm satisfied, I'll just close it. But that's a whole lot of work. You know, in design workflow, you have to be fast too. So we have our Ramadan Mubarak text already. What else do we want to do? It's black and what we are replicating is kind of greenish. It's a gradient actually. So what do we do? There are two ways we can do this. You can come to our properties to change the color. Change the color. We get our color picker panel. Then which color is this? 0F8242. Now because you don't have this reference to pick from, so when you come to these properties, come here, just type in 0F8242 and you have the same color I used. Remember when I was explaining Xcode, that's an Xcode we just used. So even though you don't have this reference wherever you are, you can select the exact color I'm using right now. So you can see that there's a kind of lemon color around this part, but we'll work on that later. Let's work on this text. Our text tool again, see, click on your artboard, and this seems this is actually very big, and if I start typing I'll just stress myself. So I'll change the font first, and the font I'll be using is Poppins, P-O-P-P-I-N-S. You should have this, or even if you don't have it, I would include it in the sources folder. So you go there, you already know how to install fonts, right? So you go there and install. I'll click on Tarmac tool, okay. Now my color is green because the last color I picked with text is green, so I have to change that. I'll come to my properties panel. For newer versions of Photoshop, you would have this floating panel here. So it's kind of a mini properties panel that you can quickly access. So instead of me having to go here, I can just quickly come down here, click on this color icon, then change this back to black. Alright. Control C to bring out the transform tool because obviously it's too big. Let me reduce it to this size. This is around 10.75 pt in case you want to have the same exact size. Control enter to enter text edit mode, and let's type as the holy months of Ramadan begins. Open verse. Wishes our Muslim brothers and sisters a season of peace, reflection, and blessings. May this period bring you spiritual growth and prosperity. Now, instead of going back to pick up my mouse and click on this icon here, Control enter to exit the text edit mode. Yeah, and this is a bit different. I think we have something to work on. Yeah, this line names at brothers and sisters. So Control enter again. Let's bring our cursor here, and this is the season of peace, reflection, and blessings on the same line. Alright, we have that sorted out perfectly, and it's obviously too big, so Ctrl T to bring out our transform controls, reduce the size to somewhere around here. I think this works. Now the text is too close to each other, right? It's going to be hard for people to read on a phone screen. You can see there's kind of a bit of more space in between. So again, Control enter text edit mode, Control Alt down arrow to reduce the space between the lines, or you can come to this properties window here, or properties panel, and increase the space between the lines or reduce it. But I feel like the shortcut is faster here, so you just kind of have to know it. Control Alt down arrow. Alright, we have that done already. Now I want us to go to our resources folder and open the PSD file there. Let me rename this so it's PSD. Alright, so let's double click on this to open it. lamp.psd. Yeah, we'll be getting, I downloaded this flyer from FreePic, and that's where we'll be getting this lamp resources from. Okay, we have 3D lamps. Let's open the folder here, try to locate which one we need. Now notice that when I click on the folder, everything is kind of selected and moving together. It might be different for you, and that's because when you come here you have layers on instead of group. So whatever works for you is what you should stick to. But I prefer having it on groups. Then if I want to select a specific layer, I would go through the extra work of coming to my layers panel to pick that layer. I think it's it's faster for me than having to come here and select something I've grouped already. So this is my 3D lamp here. It is the rope different. Oh, alright, we have to know what this rope is. Okay, this is shape 03 and lamp. Good. So we know that these three are related, so we can select the two, right click, convert to smart objects. So we don't have an headache when we're working with it. Then this lamp, 3D lamp 2 and shape 2, select the 2. How did I know? When I'm moving on it, it's highlighted here, and you can also just turn off the layer. Whichever one disappears is definitely the layer you turned off. So you can locate these two, right click, convert to smart objects. So I have these two lamps I need, so I'm going to copy, Ctrl C, then I'll come back to my file, Ctrl V to paste it here. And yeah, I've not saved the file. Please make sure you always save your file early before it gets heavy, so Photoshop does not crash and you just lose all your hard work. Alright, I have these two here, and let's check how we are trying to replicate and see how it is. So let me just pick this. Let me put this here for now. Alright, I'll drag this and bring it here. I need it to be big actually. So Ctrl T to increase the size. Come to this edge. Right. Select this edge. Hold on Shift to scale proportionally. Make sure you hold on Shift to scale proportionally, because if you don't, you can see how it's getting distorted, right? You don't want to use something like this. So hold on Shift to scale proportionally. I think something around this is exactly what we have here. And then instead of clicking on this square at the edge of the transform box, you can move out just a little bit. You see this arrow changes from one going up and down, or left and right, whichever way you see it, to a kind of angled arrow or a rotation arrow, which tells you now you can drag and rotate. So let me rotate it a little bit. I think this is fine. And when I'm done with it, I'll just click on enter, or you can always come here to click on OK. Then this other one, this is even fine as it is. There's no need for extra work on that. Now you notice that there's a kind of fog on the two lamps, right? So that's another layer, and it's in our source folder. You bring in the cloud.png file. Let me drag it in. Reduce the size. Yeah, now this is kind of too much. Let me bring it here, increase it a little bit. This is too much. Let me click on enter to place it into my documents first. Then I'll come to my layers panel here, and I'm going to change the blend mode from normal to screen. Now do I need to duplicate it? I think it's fine already the way it is. Let me rotate it a little bit. Yes. Yeah, this is pretty close to what we have there. Then click on enter, and I'll do the same for this. Now I can go back and bring in another copy of cloud.png, but since I already have it here, I can just click on the layer in my layers panel, the cloud layer, click on it, Ctrl G to duplicate. Now I have another copy. I can drag the copy over to where I need it. Reduce the size of that because it's too much. It's already covering my text. Yeah, reduce the size of that and bring it here. I think there's a bit of the cloud on the Mubarak text here. So should I make it bigger? Let me just copy The same way we copied a rectangle, we can also copy that way. Remember when I did this, Alt drag to create another copy. That's a way to copy. You can use Ctrl J. Let me even do that for the rectangle itself. Select the rectangle, Ctrl J to create a duplicate. I can drag the duplicate away. So you can click on our cloud, Alt drag. You already have a copy. Let me bring it around here to cover the M a little bit, but I think it's too opaque. I can't really see my M again. So I'm going to come to opacity here and reduce the opacity a little bit, so the effect just kind of shows a little bit. Then copy it and bring it somewhere around here. Guys, I think we are done with that. And we can reduce the size of our text so there's a bit of space between our text and the lamp. Alright. Ramadan Mubarak. Remember our principles. Let me just talk a little bit about it. Our principles, this is emphasis, right? Ramadan Mubarak is what people are going to see first. People are not necessarily going to read, all these texts that we have here, unless they are very much interested in the flyer. But everybody that sees this at least will see Ramadan Mubarak. Why? Because it's big and we place the emphasis on it. Next, I would like us to bring in the logos. We have the logo.png here. Drag it into your file and bring it to the top here. Let's reduce the size. I kind of like it this way. Yeah, even smaller than it is in what we are trying to replicate, because our logo is not what we are placing emphasis on here. Around this is, it's good, it's visible enough. The Ogun Invest text is visible, the Ogun State logo is visible. And what else do we have? Okay, these leaves, let's bring in a copy of the leaf. Let's bring in a leaf. Okay, click on this mark to place it in your document. Now it's below these layers and we want it to be above, so we can click on it and drag it to the top, or you can click on Ctrl-Shift right bracket to bring it to the top. And this might confuse you. Let me just type it here so you know the brackets I'm talking about. Ctrl-Shift, these brackets. Yeah, this one, not this one, this bracket. So it takes whatever, this bracket, it takes whatever you have selected and it brings it to the top. So it's at the topmost layer. Ctrl-T to reduce the size. Let me rotate it. I'm fine with this direction. Let's reduce it like this. We'll bring it to the top. And you can see it looks like, when you take a picture of something that is moving very fast, like those Formula 1 pictures of fast cars, it looks a bit blurry. And that's actually an effect. You come to filter, blur, then motion blur, and this is going to work because our layer is essentially a smart object. If you don't know what a smart object is, and I think I've mentioned it in a previous video actually, but if you still don't know what it is, you can go online to look for what a smart object is. Let me convert this to a rasterized layer and try to apply filter effects. Filter blur, and where is its motion blur? It would be here and it will still get blurred, but I won't be able to edit the effects later. So it's best to work with smart objects because you can always go back. Ctrl Z. We are back at the smart object state. So filter, blur, motion blur. Now every blur you see, the motion blur, Gaussian blur, they have their own meaning and visual effects. So let's increase this to, I think 22 should be fine. Now if I bring this direction to this angle to 0, you can see it's completely horizontal and the blow would be from left to right. But this is the direction of the leaf, right? So I want to bring it somewhere around here, as around -45 or -49. So the blow makes sense with the direction of the leaf. -55 here, click on OK. Alright, let's copy the leaf. There's one here. Then increase the size a little bit. Ctrl T to link up the transform controls, right? Don't forget about that. Enter. Yeah, bring it here. Now it should be below the lamp, right? So I can come here to drag it to the bottom. Let me put it here. Yeah, it's already below the lamp. Or I can just do Ctrl Shift left bracket. That bracket we used earlier, the left part of it. So the left bracket, we take it down. Let's take another copy of this and drag it here. Change the direction, Ctrl C. Rotate it. Should we increase the size? I think it's fine this way. Let's bring it up here. And you can see there's no block on it, right? Now if this was a rasterized layer, I would have to bring in another copy of leaf. But because it's a smart object, every effect we had is a layer on its own. It's not baked into it. So you can just turn off smart filters and you see the blow effect has gone. Okay, do we have another occurrence of a leaf? Okay, we have one here. Let's copy, bring it here. Remember how to copy, right? Click on Alt on your keyboard, select your layer or your object and drag away. Alright, Ctrl T transform, rotate. Let's reduce the size. I think we are good to go so far. And lastly, there's a kind of lighting effect here. And how do you do that? You create a new layer. You can come to this plus icon at the bottom of your layer panels. At the bottom of your layer panel here, click on this plus and you have a new layer. Let's name it light 1. Oh yeah, I mentioned the other time that we should save and I didn't save. Ctrl S to save. Select the location on your PC where you want to save. Then name it again. And give it 3 minutes. Alright, this is a layer light 1. Ctrl Shift N to create a new layer. Click on OK. Ctrl N is to create a new document, right? We are creating another artboard, a new window where you want to do another design. Or Ctrl Shift N is to create a new layer. Okay, let me rename this. Double click on the layer name, rename it to light 2, so we know what we are working on. So come to light 1, pick your brush tool. The shortcut is B for brush tool. Make sure you're brush tool, not pencil tool, not color replacement or mixer brush tool. Make sure you're brush tool. So you can come to your brush settings here, click on brush settings, and again anything you can't see, come to window, make sure you have it selected here. Look at brush settings, make sure you have it selected, then come to brushes. If you can't see brushes, also come to window, make sure you have brushes selected. Then I have a lot of brushes, but what you need is the general brush, and definitely you have it. Let's come here, general brushes, soft round. Yeah, this is the brush we need. Then come to brush settings. Increase the size. You can increase the size here. Yeah, I think they should. Yes, there's a panel up here also where you can increase the size. This is faster. I increase the size here. This is too big. And reduce it. Now this is a whole lot of work, like trying to figure out the exact size. So there's a shortcut. There's always a shortcut for things. You remember the right bracket we used to bring our layers to the top? It's the same right bracket, but you're not going to be using shift this time around. So just click on the right bracket. It increases your brush size. Yeah, this size is fine. Then I'll come to my foreground color here. Click on it. I'll pick yellow. Good. We increase the brush size again. Then I'll just click on my artboard once. Let me increase it. I don't think this is enough. Let me click on my artboard again and again. Yeah. Now I'll change the blending mode of this light one layer to screen. Change it from normal to screen. You can see the effects now. Then I think this is too much. Let's reduce it a little bit, and we can we can adjust the position of this layer. So you can bring it up a little bit here, and it's going to be on top of this Invest logo, which we don't want. We want Invest logo to be at the top. We don't want any effects to be on it. So we can lock this light layer. From here, lock it, because if you don't, you most likely won't be able to select this layer because it is below your light layer. So let's lock it so you can have access to the layer at the back. Then click on this Ctrl Shift right bracket to bring it to the top. Or if you like the extra work, you can locate it, then drag it to the top. Okay, we have that done. Let's come to our light tool. Click our brush tool B. It's still the same foreground color we have selected, so there's no need to change anything. I think there's a kind of, the reason why this leaf is different is it's a bit yellow, is because we have these effects on this part of the flyer also. Change the blending mode from normal to screen, and reduce the opacity. Yes. Then come back to our move to V. Ctrl S to save our progress so far. And lastly, the last thing we have to work on is our footer here. So let's click our rectangle tool, click on it, rectangle tool, and draw a rectangle across our flyer like this. You can extend it, you can make it bigger because you have freedom to adjust it later. So let's adjust the edges. Hold and drag it up this way, drag it back, and we'll change the color in our properties window. You can change the color in different places. Like you can come here, change the color, you can come here, change the color here. So let's change this to white. There's no single way to do a specific thing in Photoshop most of the time. There are several ways. Now you can see there's a kind of corner radius here. Let me zoom it. There's a kind of bend here. Yeah, let me create a new layer so you can see it. You don't need to do what I'm going to do now. Don't create this new layer. Ctrl Shift N. I'm just trying to use it to explain something. You can see this edge here is somehow like this. There's a corner radius. So that effect you have to make sure we also replicate it. Okay, let's select. This is still a rectangle here. I don't want it to be complete white for now, so I'll be able to distinguish it from the background, but I'll change it later. So let's pick something of white, something around here. And if your color window, like your color selection window, is different from what I have here, it's possible you have S or you have B selected. So make sure it's on H. Then click on OK. Yeah. So come to properties here. You can adjust the corner radius. Make sure you unlink this, because if you still have it linked this way and you try to adjust, it would adjust every single corner, and you don't want that. So unlink it. Let's adjust one corner. Let's give it 100. Let's come here, 100 also. That's it. Yeah. Then our text, I even think they used a bolder variation of this. You can select every of our lights. Let me lock this light layer, or unlock the two even. Click on the two, select the two, Ctrl G to group, rename it to lights, then lock it. Right, so we are kind of organized. And yeah, I can select my text here. I think they used a bolder font width. So let's change this to medium. Yes, this is better. Now we want to create a copy of this. We can just click on T to create another text listing, and then you keep on adjusting. But the faster way is just create a copy of this. Now when I tried to drag, it created another copy of my light effects, which is not what I want. I want to create a copy of this text. So I'm going to click on it, Ctrl G to duplicate, then Ctrl Shift right bracket to bring it to the top. Then I can drag it away. I can drag my copy away. So let's type in the details of this footer. Contact us. 23491. 2340609400947. You can put anything you want here. Then change the alignment to left. Enter. Let's bring it here. This should be plus. Those we have here the email address. Let me put my email there. You can put any email you want. here.gmail.com. There's another mistake here. Should be C, not CP. Wow, CON. What am I typing? Yeah, we have this. And our text is actually green, a deep shade of green, not black. But I feel like black would work, just that this contact us is thicker than the rest. So let's select contact us, Ctrl semi-bold. Yeah, exactly. So we can duplicate this, Alt and drag. Then office locations. I'm actually just going to put some gibberish here, but you can be specific and type about 4 lines of text. So I'm going to type 11111222. I know anyhow. Lagos opposites. I just type random stuff now. The second line, office. But then if you are going to replicate this and you are going to post it online, add it to your portfolio or tag me online, make sure you use proper text that would be readable and make sense. Alright, come to enter to exit text edit mode, and you can select this. Now alignment, make sure your elements are kind of aligned. There's a kind of alignment. That's a principle you should not forget. Imagine this Ramadan was kind of here like this. It would feel off, right? It doesn't make sense. So it's at the center alignment, bring it here. And then imagine after having a center alignment, the text here is left aligned, right? It won't make sense. Even if we now put it at the center of the flyer, it doesn't make sense, right? So it's center aligned on its own, then center aligned in the design itself. Then you come to this text here. You want to make sure it's aligned with this rectangle at the back. So you click on the text, click on the rectangle, then you come here, align vertical centers, then contact us. I don't think I want to align it to the center vertically, so I would align it to the top of this. Let's drag it here a little bit. You can see this smart guide actually shows us that it's aligned at the top. And if you can't see smart guides, come to view guides, come to view, show, make sure smart guides is selected. Can try to select dashboard names, everything I have selected here, make sure it's there. Then you have the tool this way. And even if you don't want to use smart guide, you can just click on this, then align to the top, same way. Now the last thing we'll bring in is our ribbon. So let's come here, bring in this ribbon. Let me rename it, reduce the size, rotate it a bit this way, and bring it here. I think we have it. Perfect. Now this is red, right? And we've been designing with green since this brand uses green as their main color. Red is not part of their brand colors. So if you have a problem like this, you have an asset you like, but it's not the color you want to work with, just download it. Then you can select the ribbon, come to adjustment layer, this half moon that we have below the layers panel. You can see it here. Click on it, select hue or saturation. Good. Now you can see the properties panel has changed too, because now we are selecting an adjustment layer, right? You can see the old design is changing, and we don't want that. It's changing because this adjustment layer is above every single layer, so it's affecting every other thing below it. All we have to do is clip it into this ribbon. And how do you clip? When you have this property selected, the shortcut is to just come here and clip. Now whatever you change only affects that layer. And another way you can clip is to select it, then click on Alt on your keyboard, hover between the two layers at the middle. Then you see your hand icon changes to a box with a down arrow. So it tells you want to power clip or clip mask this. So click on this and you have a clip mask. Then you can come to properties and adjust it whichever way you want. I think it's way brighter than what we have and what we are trying to replicate. So let's reduce the lightness. Perfect. Good. Okay, let's select these two texts. Now it's easy to overlook something like this and export a design this way. But if I bring a ruler to the middle, you can see it. You can see the content in this footer is not center aligned. So alignment is something you get better at the more you design. Let's select these two, group them, and make sure everything is actually aligned to the center of the flyer itself. right? Then Ctrl Shift G to ungroup because we don't necessarily need them together. We can create a small rectangle here to get this. Create a rectangle, then reduce the size, reduce it this way. Yes. So we'll select this rectangle, select office location, select contact us, and we want to justify. Now justifying is you are making sure there is equal space between any number of elements you have selected. Let's say I have this, and I have this, and I want equal space between the two instead of just dragging and praying that our smart guides help us. Sometimes it doesn't. So you can just select the 3, come here, click on this 3 icon, then distribute. Distribute centers vertically. Now there's equal space between the 3. So that's exactly what we are going to do here. I want the space here to be equal to the space here. So select a rectangle. Let's rename it to divider. Select this, select our office text, contact us, and do the same thing. That's somehow not balanced. Why is that? Let's see. Why is that? Oh yeah, distribute spacing. Yeah, the space is equal now. So I can group everything. Ctrl G. Select the 3. Ctrl G. And come here to make sure it's aligned to the center again, which it is already. There's no need to adjust that. What do we need? This rectangle is actually too big, like way too big. So let's come here, select the divider, Ctrl T to bring out our transform control. Now it's going to be tricky because this is like very, very small. So you have to make sure you have this selected, not this. You get? So make sure you have the middle selected. Drag it down, hold on Alt to make sure you are dragging on both sides at the same time. Alright, then mark. We can now finally change our footer to white. Now, when we've changed it to white, it has disappeared completely except for this little part here. And we don't want that. We want our footer to be distinct from the rest of the flyer. So what do? We'll select our footer rectangle. Let's rename it to footer rectangle. Then we'll come to our f of x here, which is the layer styles. Come here like so. Click on drop shadow. Yes, we want to create a drop shadow. Make sure you change this color from whatever it is, change it to black. Don't worry about the opacity yet. Then kind of try to rotate this. Drop shadow is actually tricky because you would assume the fact that I have this, and let's say this is a clock. The fact that I have this and here means the shadow would be down, it will be below, but you can see it's above here. And there's a preview here actually. You can see what your main results will be. Let's increase the distance a little bit, and the spread also. Yeah, I don't like that. Reduce the spread, increase the size so it's a little bit blurry, and opacity. I don't want so much shadow, so opacity to around, I think 14. Yeah, 14 should work, or even 10 is okay. So there's a distinction between our foot and the rest of the design. So we are done with our first replication, our first flyer design in the 5th module of this course. Now, how do you export? Come to File, Export. Where is it? Export as. Well, as you can see there's a shortcut which I use every single time. Ctrl Shift Alt W. It brings up the export window. If this was on JPEG, change it to PNG. You can leave it at JPEG too, by just before exporting everything in PNG. Then come to, don't change anything here. You don't really need to. There's nothing to change here. Metadata none. I don't bother myself with all this. I just come here and click on export directly. Select my location. Let me just name it 100 So with that, we've successfully replicated this Ramadan Mubarak flyer design. If you followed along with this tutorial and you had issues, you can send me a message on any of my social media handles attached below. And if you're able to replicate this successfully, post this on social media and tag me. I would love to see what you've done. I would love to see your progress and give remarks on it. And with that, we've come to the end of this video. Make sure you like, share with your friends, and subscribe to support this channel.